Hi, my name is Sharon Moore, and I'm doing my speech over violence in the media and how it affects children's behaviors. John Murray, the author of the journal Media Violence: The Effects Are Both Real and Strong, stated, "It is not unusual to describe violence in the media as a drug. As a society, we are addicted to violence to an extent, I believe. Um, when we're at home watching television, whether it's with our children or not, the majority of us will not surpass, any violent content or aggressive content that we see on TV because we think of it as entertainment for us. And, you know, it's one of the most entertaining things we have on television. It's most highly rated things, and companies are going to keep it around just because it has high ratings. Um, well, now put this into your hands of your children, and what it does to them. They go in there, they're watching television, and maybe they see somebody wrestling on TV, or and they want to do the same thing. They might be influenced or play a video game. This is where it comes into play, and a lot of journals have done research to figure out why or what affects them, and this is what I'm researching today, is how these effects, or if there is an effect to violence in the media and how it affects behaviors of children. My literature review, I looked at a couple of journals, and one of the most popular journals about this study is the journal about the Bobo dolls, done by Bandura, Ross, and Ross in 1961. This was done at Stanford University, and it was done there was about 50 participants, half were male, about 50 participants, half were male, half were female, and they had a few go into the room and watch aggressive content, and the other half would watch non-aggressive content. Then they put them into a room and have each of the participants um, interact with a Bobo doll. And there was a lot of conclusions to this study. I mean, but the main thing is that when you look at it, the kids that watched more television, more aggressive content or more violent content were the ones that were more aggressive towards the Bobo dolls. There was also other sorts of literature that I researched, um, but that's one of the most popular ones of our time. Uh, Other research journals were, you know, stating statistics or trying to like kind of just look at how violence in the media affects children, and the other ones I took the other half and were more of the control aspect of ones that controlled violence in the media or what could control violence in the media. My research question was is what is the relationship between violence in the media and children's behavior? My hypothesis to this is there will be a positive relationship between the amount of media violence viewed and children's behavior. My method that I would use, I would initiate a study that would have at least 50 participants and half male, half female, and I'd do it at the University of Oklahoma. And it would be observational and questionnaire, also surveys. And in this, I'd first come have all the subjects come in, and I'd ask them questions about their aggressive nature or questions that hinted towards their aggressive nature. Also about violent acts they may have committed in the past or have not. And I'd also like to go to their homes, each homes, or have one of my workers go to their home and kind of research what their life's about and how they came about and everything, and how they feel about violence on TV and see if how it affects them. And I'd also give them material to look at, play, or anything like that. Play with, including video games or internet material. And this would go on for a few years, a while, and I'd have every 2 months or so I'd have them come in and have material that I wanted them to watch and I wanted them to take in, and I'd have them watch that. And then I'd say a few years after that, I'd come in and ask them the same questions and see how their lives are changing, if their lives are changing, if they've been affected by violence in the media, and if it has affected them, how it has affected them, and just go from there. I'd be going study probably go about for 5 years, if not more, because because you really can't get that kind of information in a short period of time. The limitations, the studies that have been done so far, um, they're, not every age group is tested. I mean, a lot of the studies, it's just children, just adolescents. I mean, you got to go to adults and see how they're, how they're influenced also. And a lot of people don't. Also, in our research limitation, another limitation is, you know, go to their house, go into their house or go into their living environment. Nobody does that. Nobody tries to see what their previous life or how they've been brought up and everything. And I think that's a big part in what influences and how certain things influence you. Because if you're brought up a certain way, you won't think. Certain things won't influence you as strong as if you're brought up another way. And future research, they need to do this. They need to be able to get background checks. They need to be able to do certain things to check, and they need to do different age groups. They need to vary the ages, not just a certain age, because it'll make it a lot better. In conclusion, violence in the media is a source of entertainment that we have had for years, obviously. And whether we want to believe it or not, violence or aggressive content in the media is something that we'll always have. So the question now is, what can society or what can a parent or guardian do to control it? First, the parent needs to be more responsible with their children, control the amount. You can try to try to control a certain amount of television that the kids watch. I mean, they're gonna watch television maybe when they're at school or at a friend's house, but you can only control so much. So try to do as much as you can, and parents just have to be able to imprint in their heads, like with their kids, what's right and what's wrong. When you let them know what's right and what's wrong, and when they see you believe in what you're saying, they're gonna believe you a lot more. And just watch it from day to day. And also the government, we have to have our government has to, buck up and do a lot more to help us out. And that is the end of my speech. Thank you.